Welcome back to the Ancestral Findings podcast. There are times in genealogy when the records speak clearly, names line up, dates behave, places make sense. You can follow a life forward without much resistance. And then there are times when the trail simply stops. Not with a dramatic ending, not with a warning, just silence. Today's story lives inside that silence. It is about a man named Samuel Carter. That name could belong to thousands of people, and in a way, that is part of the point. What we know is simple. Samuel Carter appears in the 1850 census in western North Carolina. He is 26 years old, born in the state, working as a laborer, living in the household of an older couple, possibly relatives, possibly not. 10 years later, he appears again, the 1860 census. This time in southern Indiana, he is married, he has 2 young children, his occupation is listed as farmer. Between those 2 records is a decade, 10 years, where Samuel Carter leaves no obvious paper trail, no land records, no marriage record that survives, no tax list, no probate file, nothing that says how he got from there to here. This is where many family trees go wrong, because silence makes people uncomfortable, and silence invites invention. So instead of sitting with the gap, stories grow around it. He must have gone west. He must have served in the military. He must have followed family. The word must is doing a lot of work there. Today, we are not going to fill in the gap. We are going to stand inside it. Let us begin with what the records actually say. In 1850, Samuel Carter is single. He owns no property. He is living in a household that does not share his surname. That tells us something small but useful. He is not yet rooted, young, mobile. Likely working where work could be found. The 1850s were not calm years. Railroads were expanding, towns were growing and shrinking. Opportunities appeared suddenly and disappeared just as fast. People moved more than we often imagine. By 1860, Samuel is somewhere else entirely. He is married to a woman named Margaret. They have 2 children under the age of 5. That tells us something else. The marriage likely took place early in the decade. The children suggest stability by the mid-1850s. So, the gap is not empty. It is full of life. We just cannot see it clearly. Now, this is the moment where the imagination starts to whisper. What if Samuel left North Carolina because work dried up? What if he followed a friend north? What if Margaret was already living in Indiana? What if the marriage happened on the road? All of these are possible. None of them are proven, and that distinction matters. So, instead of declaring what happened, we approach the gap sideways. We ask quieter questions. What kinds of records might exist here but no longer survive? County marriage books are missing in parts of Indiana during the 1850s. Some were lost to fire. Some were never well kept to begin with. Church records existed, but many were never preserved, especially for families with limited means. Tax records can help, but they often list only heads of household. Samuel may not have appeared until he owned land. In other words, absence does not mean inactivity. It means invisibility. Now let us slow down. Imagine Samuel in his late 20s. He leaves North Carolina with little more than what he can carry. No deed, no inheritance, just a name and the promise of work elsewhere. He might travel alone. He might travel with others whose names never appear beside his in the records. Weeks pass. Months pass. None of that is recorded. This is where genealogy feels most human. Lives are lived loudly. Records are kept quietly, and sometimes not at all. By the time Samuel reappears on paper, everything looks settled. A wife, children, a farm. But that neat snapshot hides the struggle that came before it. And this is where many researchers make a mistake. They connect the dots too quickly. They treat the gap as a failure instead of a boundary. A boundary tells you where certainty ends. And that is valuable information. Because once you know where certainty ends, you stop building on sand. You say, here is what we know. And then you stop, not forever, just until evidence speaks again. In Samuel's case, the records do speak again. After 1860, his life becomes easier to follow. Land purchases, tax lists, a will filed decades later. The man becomes visible because his circumstances change, not because he suddenly started existing. And that is the lesson hiding inside this gap. Genealogy is not about finding everything. It is about knowing the difference between proof and possibility, between silence and absence, between what feels right and what can be shown. When you encounter missing years in your own research, resist the urge to rush. Sit with the gap. Mark it clearly. Let it remain open. Because someday a record you did not know existed may step forward and speak. And until then, the silence itself is telling you something important. It is telling you where to be careful. It is telling you where humility belongs. The past does not owe us complete stories. It gives us fragments. Our job is not to finish the story for it. Our job is to listen closely, even when it says nothing at all. If you've got a hard-to-find ancestor you're stuck on, I'd love to hear about it. Just head over to ancestralfindings.com and click on Contact to send me a message. While you're there, take advantage of our free weekly genealogy lookups. Explore thousands of articles and enjoy hundreds of podcast episodes. We've been helping family history researchers since 1995. And if you're looking for even more, check out our Genealogy Gold Q&A series over on Patreon. Thanks for listening, and as always, happy searching.